Good evening, everybody. Hello, hope you're well. I am very well. I've had a fantastic weekend. It is Sunday, the 13th of March, I think. 13th? It's definitely Sunday, because I'm back at work tomorrow. Boo. But let me just double check, it's 13th. Yeah, I was right. I don't know why I doubted myself. So yes, fantastic weekend. Yesterday I was helping out at the Newcastle Whisky Festival, which is organised and run by the fantastic guys at the Whisky Lounge. Their logo is up on the screen now. They were founded by a guy called Eddie Ludlow, who I sort of worked with back when I worked at Oddbins up in Newcastle 10 years ago now, if not slightly longer. He was, at the time I started, I think he'd just finished at the Newcastle store, he became manager of the Darlington store. He moved down to York and ran the Oddbins there, was a massive whisky fan and set up the Whisky Lounge with his wife Amanda. And they host tastings, courses, trips up and down the country, organise loads of festivals, really passionate about whisky, really passionate about getting whisky out to the people, spreading the word, having an absolute blast of a time. And yeah, they had their whisky festival in St James's Park. We were hoping to see the new Newcastle manager Rafa Benitez there because there was a press conference going, but unfortunately he didn't show up. Don't even know if he's a whisky drinker. I would thoroughly recommend, if you haven't already, checking out the Whisky Lounge. You can find them at thewhiskylounge.com. I'll put a list of their festivals up because they're up and down the country for the course of the year. So I'll put them up here now, but we've got the London Weekender, which is the 1st to the 3rd of April. We've got a festival in Aberdeen on the 23rd of April. May 7th is in Bristol, Brighton June 18th, Liverpool September the 3rd, York, which I'm probably going to be at, which will be September the 10th. I'm probably going to be desperate for drams at that point, so if you're going to go with that one in particular, please do bring some samples with you because I'm probably going to need them. Manchester, may well attend myself as well. That's on October 22nd, and then Brum finishes off the year on November the 12th. Brum, Birmingham, for those of you that don't know what Brum means. So yeah, I just needed that list for there anyway. But yeah, it was on the screen. If you can make any of those festivals, if you're nearby at that time, they're absolutely fantastic. Loads of really good producers there, loads of guys who know what they're talking about, and girls who know what they're talking about, and just a fantastic time was had by all. It was, my throat is still raw, and I didn't even touch a drop of alcohol. It was just talking to people all day, enthusing about the whiskies, and I've got some samples from that festival, and that will be going over the next couple of weeks after I've got this run going, which I'll move on to in a second. But I was on a table with some really unusual whiskies, managed to snaffle some drams, made some really good contacts, got some cracking samples, and hopefully we're leading on to more samples coming in. But before I hit all of them, a package arrived in the post for me last week, a little box that had arrived all the way from Germany. And this was a guy on the Malt Maniacs and Friends group on Facebook who had contacted me, said he'd like to send me some samples to go towards the challenge. A guy called Tobias von Nunbronner, I think. I do apologise, Tobias, if I've just completely obliterated your surname. This is a picture of him now. A lovely bloke on Facebook, really, really nice guy. Has already sent me through some notes because my GCSE German has just gone completely out of my head. And for the one that I'm about to try now, pretty much every website I'd found was all in German, and I could pick out words here and there, but didn't really have much of an idea what was going on. So yes, thank you Tobias for the whiskies, fantastic, I can't wait to try them, and also for helping me out with some of the information behind it. So the first one of 6, and these are going to be really, really interesting. The first one is this one. Now, obviously it doesn't look like this, it looks like this, or the range does. This is called Threeland. It's German whiskey, but the reason it's called Threeland is because, and I'll put the map up now of where it's situated, it's on the border of Germany and Luxembourg in the Moselle Valley, which is more well known for wine producing in particular, and it's the valley that crosses Germany, Luxembourg and France, and actually goes into Belgium as well. So the Threeland name comes from the fact that they are using barley and rye from Luxembourg and Germany. They're using French oak barrels, and then they're also distilling obviously in Germany. So they're actually, it's based from 3 countries or 3 lands are going into this whiskey. So this is it's a small distillery that was for several generations doing brandy and schnapps, and there's two brothers at the moment that are running it, Andreas and Carlo Valenda. The picture is up now of these two guys, and Andreas in particular was the one that wanted to branch into whiskey. So this is a 6-year-old. It is 46.2%, and essentially is Tobias, brilliant size bottles, because that is exactly 25ml. That's brilliant. These are getting washed out, and I'm going to use these again for other samples because that is a perfect size. If you've got any more of those bottles, if you can send me a batch of them, that would be fantastic. Anyway, so this is a young distillery, a young whiskey, very, very small quantities. Wow, already I can smell it. So really, really hard to get hold of. In terms of a price, would not have a clue. Whether you could even find this in the UK at all, I doubt you could. Matured in Moselle wine casks. Now, the whole Moselle region is very well known for fruity, complex, maybe slightly acidic. It's kind of Rieslings and those type of wines where it's a bit more delicate, a bit more fruity, a bit more aromatic, shall we say. And these guys are using the cask to mature the whiskey. Now, it really is quite a pale colour. So it's going to be white wine cask rather than red wine casks, and I don't think there's too much red wine cask in that kind of region anyway, in terms of particularly Germany and French wines. Luxembourgian, I'll go with Luxembourg. Luxembourgian wines aren't particularly huge outside of that region, so I wouldn't know whether they've got a lot of red wines, but I'm guessing not. It's predominantly white wines that you'll find in there. So quite a light colour. Ooh, wow, crikey, that's a really intense nose, but it's really grassy. It's like, it's really intense grass. It's like concentrated cut grass, and something else, there's a spice in there as well. It reminds me of Thai green curry. It's almost lemongrassy. Good Lord, that is a most unusual nose. I can imagine some people are going to find that quite unpleasant because it's very intense. It's slightly petrol-y, which is another kind of nose element that you could find with those type of Rieslings, that kind of petrol-y feel to it. But this is super concentrated. It's like lemongrass. It's like a really concentrated Thai green curry, cut grass, slightly like concentrated honeysuckle. It's everything kind of like crammed in and like distilled into one concentrate. I mean, this is impressing me on the nose. This is unlike anything else I have come across so far. It's unusual. I like it. I could see how some people wouldn't, because it's a very, very distinctive and very unusual nose. Oh, and it carries on the palate as well. Wow. That's unlike anything I've ever had. That really is. And I really like it because of that. Because it's just so distinct and so different to anything that I've ever had. Now, what I also got from Tobias, and it was commented on by somebody else on the Facebook group, was Jim Murray, who is, if you don't know who Jim Murray is, he's very, very he's very well known in the whiskey community. I was about to say very highly regarded, but he tends to get a bit of a battering. He does an annual whiskey Bible, or at least I think he still does. I'm assuming he's still alive, I don't know. I've been out of the loop for a while. Anyway, Jim Murray's Whiskey Bible, very, very highly regarded annual series where he reviews and rates out of 100. He basically breaks it down into nose and finish, and breaks it down into certain things and scores it by that, and then totals it up into a score of 100. And it was kind of like his scores were what you could use as marketing or to solve an argument or anything like that. And Tobias has sent me Jim Murray's review of this, and it was 93 out of 100, so pretty highly regarded. So he's got, and I've not read this first, so it'll be interesting to see if I get anywhere near what he says, because he knows a lot more about it than I do. Green, newly mown grass and hay. Okay, well, yep, it's pretty close to that. Beautifully fresh, enticing, and with that juicy, just so degree of sweetness, mouth-watering, slightly sweeter than the nose suggests. Gristy but always intense, yes, definitely intense. An elegant vanilla and barley fade. On this evidence, one of the technically best distillers of malt on mainland Europe, and he calls it sensational. Now, I would definitely agree with the intensity. The grass, the hay, the concentration of flavours that are on there. Sweetness, less so. God, that nose. The nose, as you're about to take a drink, goes up your nose and it's already preparing your mouth for the flavours that are going to come in there. Me, personally, I'm getting a definite lemongrass, Thai green curry feel to it. And not that sweetness that you take with Thai green curry. It's not the coconut milk, it's the lemongrass and herbiness side. You know, you can get these packs of Thai green curry where you put the kind of the green sauce over the chicken first and then you add the coconut milk. It's that green bit before you've added the coconut milk into the Thai green curry. It's really distinctive, it's really unusual, and it borderlines being absolutely fantastic and pretty bloody awful because it's such a distinct, unusual flavour. Personally, I like that. I'm not sure I could drink much more of that in one particular session, but if you got somebody that came up to you and said, do you know what, all whiskey tastes the same, what I used to do at the whiskey shop was turn around and give them something from a lowland or a heavily sherried one and then give them a really peated Islay one and go, yeah, you know, tell me those two taste the same. You could stick that in the middle of that and go, and tell me that tastes the same. Incredible whiskey, genuinely incredible, just because it's so distinctive and so unlike anything else I have ever had. It's fantastic. I love it. I love it because it's so unusual. Great stuff. And that's the first of 6 that he sent. I cannot wait to try the rest of them. Really, really enjoyed that. Thank you very much, Tobias. I'm going to wash everything out. I'm going to really have to clean that glass to make sure that intensity isn't lingering in there anymore until I move on to the next one. And yeah, we shall see you in the next. Cheers.